Hey y'all, welcome to our show, the Amen Ashe Show.
Where we are bringing you live conversations about spirituality in the context of who we are.
Yes, and today we are going to be discussing Orisha OKO and a special tribute to him and that spirit for this new moon in Taurus happening on May 15th. So welcome and let's get started.
Hey, Ashe, how are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you, Amen.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
It's good to be with you and back with you again.
Yes, indeedy. I'm
Yeah.
actually really excited to start talking about the topic that we have today. But before we can actually talk about it, it'd be good for you guys to know the story behind it, or at least one of the many patakis, or at least versions of the patakis. Remember, these are oral traditions, so it kind of switches up a little bit, just like telephone. But that game Telephone, if you ever played it when you were younger. But anyways, here is the story of Orisha OKO, and then Amen and I will be back to give our discussion about the story. The Pataki of Orisha OKO was a man that tended to his job with the utmost respect. He would work all day on his crops to make sure the crops are growing as said. Once the sun would start to go down and the moon would rise, he would go to bed and leave his brother, Koto, to tend the crop fields, as tomorrow was a long day. One morning, Orisha OKO was walking near the seashore, planting his crops in a new town to help bring harvest for them. He noticed a beautiful woman in the waters and was struck by her. He put down his farming tools and walked towards the sea and yelled out to her. She turned around and stayed looking at him. In his eyes, you can notice the look of a similar puppy love he had for the woman laying in the sea. The woman looked straight at him and told him her name was Ibu Agana Ini, and she was not looking for any type of love affairs of puppy dog looks, because she had a defect that made it impossible not to leave the ocean. Orisha OKO looked at Agana and told her that he didn't care about her defects. He told her that he did not care of that. Agana took him okay, and she then told him to make a pact with her. She told him, "You never discuss or make fun of my defect, or we will separate and never talk again." Orisha OKO, who was yearning for love, nonetheless a wife, agreed to the pact. Ibu Agana agreed, and she started to come to the water's edge. Now Agana had a beautiful face, but her body was somewhat deformed. She had one leg bigger than the other, multiple scars and blisters near her womb area, and she only had one breast. Orisha OKO, seeing this, paid no attention to it. Olofi, seeing all of this from the heavens, came down and told Orisha OKO that he did not want any disrespect towards Agana. He told Orisha OKO that he made a castle for Agana deep in the ocean so that she wouldn't be ridiculed by anyone for her defects. Orisha OKO gave Olofi his word that he will never disrespect Ibu Agana, and he will always cherish her. Olofi then told the both that they needed to be married. Years passed on, and Orisha OKO and Ibu Agana lived happily together. Due to the fact that Orisha OKO's harvest was so abundant, he decided to sell his crops. So Orisha OKO would go and collect the crops and the fruits that he grew and took them to his wife, where she would sell them to the people. Every day the townspeople would come and purchase their harvest from Agana at the seashore. She always was dressed to hide her defects from the world so that they would not make fun of her. One day, some townsmen came to the seashore to buy some fruits from Agana. They stayed staring at the Orisha and were whispering under their breath to one another. Ibu Agana was feeling very reluctant and asked them what were they discussing. They told her that they came because there was a man who plowed the fields, has said that there was a woman by the seashore who is totally deformed. Agana got such in a rage that she turned into a ghostly figure. You could see the hurt and dismay of her face. She left the sea and went to where Orisha OKO was. When Orisha OKO saw her approaching him, he was wondering why his wife was coming at him at such a fast pace and in such rage. Agana told him of the hurt and the promise he broke to her, and stated that, well, the world is the world, but I will always detest you, and we will live in separate places. And you will live far from me and you, and I will go upon your lands whenever I feel like it. I will never talk to you, and everyone must pay homage to me. And with that, I will save my children who honor me. I will assign Legua, who is the guardian of Olofi's house, to receive the souls of the children of the earth as well as yourself. I curse you that your own weapons will turn against you. Your animals will also turn against you. The lands that you fertilize will become bad soil. Your children will no longer be your children. You will never see the fruit of your harvest, and man will always step on your grounds. She then turned around and disappeared into the ocean. Olofi, who was very upset at Orisha OKO, and he descended to where he was at and told him with a strong voice that upon what Agana had said to him, his harvest will always shrivel and die. The box that he uses to help with his harvest will die of thirst, and the land will become sour. Orisha OKO, upset and shamed, didn't know where to turn his head, as he has just been scolded by the great Olofi. He went and collected fruits, a pig, and harvest, and made a haste to the seashore. He constructed a makeshift boat and sailed out into the sea. The ocean's water became very rocky, as Agana was still in such a rage. There, Orisha OKO made a sacrifice to Agana and told Alegua to take the sacrifice to her. He returned to land and picked up all the scraps from the marketplace with 2 roosters and made a sacrifice to Alegua as well. He left there and sacrificed one of the ox to Olofi in forgiveness. By him doing these ibos, or offerings, he was able to diminish the epidemic that was coming upon the land from Agana. Olofi spoke to him from the heavens and told Orisha OKO that he was pleased with the sacrifice, and he saw his serenity of what he did. And from that day forth, Orisha OKO will have his harvest and be the Orisha of the twins. And his lands will always live very far from the ocean. This is where love was born and then died. She turned around and stayed looking at him. In his eyes you could notice the look of a similar puppy love he had for the woman laying in the sea. The woman looked straight at him and told him that her name was Ibu Agana, Inu, and she was not looking for any type of puppy love or love affairs because she had a defect that made it impossible not to leave the ocean. All right, so that was one of the Pataki versions um, that I have found. There are plenty of different Patakis for all the Orishas, so don't expect one to be exactly like the other. But in any case,
I love the Patakis because I think you were saying earlier that they're the oral history, and that oral history is forever changing, like the game of telephone. If you played that game in school, if you tell your friend something and by the time it goes around a whole circle, the story has drastically changed in most cases. But the Patakis, they hold on to the culture and the history of the Orishas, and the beauty, because every Pataki has something in them, sort of like a parable. So in this Pataki of Orisha OKO, we see the beauty is in love and death.
Yes. Now, let me just make this disclaimer. We are in no way trying to come across as if we are masters of Santeria, of Ifa, of any of these traditions. We are simply, children of the diaspora, the African diaspora, and because of this, yes, we have to. This is what we come from. But, just because we honor and respect it doesn't necessarily mean that we are underneath the religion itself or underneath underneath that particular tradition, like some other people would be, like a Babalao would be, like a priestess would be within that faith. So giving honor and respect to them as well, who are truly like, this is their practice, this is their, their path. We all have different paths, but as long as we make it up that mountain, that's accomplishing your mission. That's the main goal, no matter how you get up there. Now, you might choose a rocky ass path, yeah. But, as long as you make it to the top, then you have a story to tell.
Some people do, and I think that's part of some people's soul contracts as well, to have those rough paths, to learn the lessons that they were sent here to learn, to this physical realm, to learn from the celestial realm.
Amen.
So, yeah. But yes, Orisha OKO, very interesting Pataki. It's a very beautiful story, and it's a very very beautiful parable, and it also speaks almost to the game of telephone and hearing facts without without the real facts, basically. You get what I'm saying? Like acting on without having the facts. But what were you gonna say?
No. That was exactly what I was thinking when I first read that Pataki, was that, like, dang, his wife, she just completely just went off of these people's words without even once at least asking him, like, did you say this?
Knowing the love that her husband had for her.
Right. And after all these years of never hearing anything about it, to not even once question whether he was the one who said it. That was the first thought that came to my mind. It's like, damn. Like, I think a lot of people do that in their relationships, and just relationships with people, period, but especially within their love relationships, especially women. No offense, I'm a lady, so I'm not trying to bash us, but hey, this is a part of fixing our crowns, right? So, we kind of jump to conclusions. We jump upon our own assumptions instead of having a conversation and talking to the person. We go off of our emotions, instead of being in control of our emotions.
This is no way to bash the males, but, to help straighten up our crowns.
Yes.
But we do the same thing. Like, we think that it's logical and stuff like that. And we make it logical to kind of jump to conclusions and to create scenarios in our head that benefits the action behind that what we're going to take, basically. Right. So whatever action behind what we're going to take, it has to be justified behind something in our minds that's telling us that's the right thing to do, based off of what has been projected onto you. Yeah, and it's just it's not people projections onto you can be very harmful. and they can do mass destruction in people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to be, and it goes to even, you have to be careful what you say to people and what you tell people, because you know, like, we know that Orisha Oku was not talking bad about his wife.
No.
But when she heard that, because in her insecurities and her deformities, she immediately thought that information to be correct.
Right.
Again, she was hurt.
Right.
But she wasn't hurt by the person who loved her most.
Right.
She was hurt by information.
Mm-hmm.
Information that wasn't correct.
Right. He say, she say type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you know, I have witnessed men give out compliments, and the compliment falls flat. Like, it's almost like, I can see you're trying to compliment me, but it's coming off as offensive. Like,
yeah.
I see your sincerity, you know? And I don't know why I was reading this Pataki, like, the first time, it was just like, that's how I felt. Like, he really probably was talking up his wife. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, she's deformed, but she's still bad. Mm-hmm. Like, she's still, you know, the baddest one out here. And I think about those guys who have, you know, plus size, you know, a little heavier ladies.
They still love their BBWs. And they hype them up.
Ooh.
And that's maybe what he was doing. He probably was talking on the side of seashore like, my girl is deformed, but she's beautiful. And then the perception of the people took it that he was talking bad about her.
Right.
Because perception, like, the message can be transmitted in one way, but how the people perceive it can be in another way.
Oh, yes.
So it's intention versus impact.
Right.
The intent of Orisha Oku was very wonderful. It was he was talking highly about his wife. He was saying, yeah, my wife is beautiful. She might be deformed, but she is the most beautiful woman I know. She has a heart of gold. And then people took that as all they heard was, my wife is deformed. My wife is they took that as a complaint. Yeah. So his intent was pure and sincere, but the impact on the people was negative and deforming.
Right. Right. And you know how messy some people can be. You know, they'll take something and then make it into something completely different. You know, just because they want to be messy and they want to be mean and mean-spirited. You know, and that's just not how you need to be.
Girl, I tell you, that's not how you need to be. Because the old timers always say you get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar.
You better say it again.
So to live, you get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar.
All right. To
live a sweet life and to live a life, an essence of sweetness is a beautiful thing, because you attract beautifulness around you. And those things that you emit out in your life, it comes back to you. So that you attract those things like a magnet. Yeah. You do sour and vinegar things, you're going to attract some sour and vinegar back to you.
You better say that again.
Age-old wisdom, divine law.
And it's so beautiful because OKO, his messengers are the bees. He uses the bees as his messengers. So, you know, just thinking upon that, you know, there's a close relation with OKO and all the Orishas. Like, all the Orishas have close relations with each other in one way or another. But with him, you know, it's the Olokun, it's the Oshun, it's the Yemoja, it's the, you know, those are the particular ones that are pretty close with him. Just on strength of, he's the pretty much representation of the earth. He's representation of harvest and abundance and growth. And it's very, very much like Taurus, you know?
And the new moon in Taurus.
Yes.
And reaping new ideas and putting new ideas out there and sowing those ideas. I said reaping, but sowing those ideas so that you may reap a harvest from those ideas. And that's what this new moon in Taurus is going to do. It's about action. And when I just pulled the cards, I had got the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is all about, like, action and creativity and lighting that fire behind your ass to get those ideas done and to manifest the things that you need to manifest in order to get your ideas out there. Like, whatever, if you want to start a business, if you want to start going to the gym, if you want to join a club or a league or something, now is the time to do that. With this new moon in Taurus, it's to set those intentions and to set up that routine based thing, because
Yes.
that action behind that bull is there, and you know how the force of the bull is.
Yes.
There's so much force in the bull, in Taurus, so much force and courage and humility. So you have to be conscientious of that energy that's going on. And you said it's going to happen on May 15th, right, Jasmine? Yeah, Jasmine is so well versed in astrology. I'm so honored to be her friend and to be under her guidance as my personal astrologer. Aww. Yeah, 2 snaps. There we go.
And while you were saying that, you basically reminded me that we also celebrate OKO, they have there's 2 dates, of course, depending on where you're at.
It's feast day.
It's feast day, yes. It's March 22nd, I believe, for South America, Santeria type thing. But in Cuba, it's on May 15th. So that's extra special. That's actually why I chose his pataki and just him in general, to honor upon, for our episode, is because of his close relations to that cultivation type of energy of Taurus, and the fact that it's a new moon, like you said, and also in that you hit on a very great point, which is very in tune with astrology, which is during the Taurus season, that's when we are supposed to sow, and when we reap our harvest, or when we reap the fruits of our labor, is in Libra season. So there's a reason why you need to be, really being consistent with whatever you're doing, whatever you sow, the seed that you sow.
She just spoke into my life, y'all. She did. She just spoke right through my soul. She just looked me in my eyes and basically said that message. The spirit basically said that message is for you and you guys that's listening, because I do take as we're doing this show, I do take messages from Jasmine too, and I believe she take messages from me as well. But Ashe, and it's just a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing. But I received that, Jasmine.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you for carrying on your wisdom and using your wisdom and your gifts. We thank you for that.
Indeed. And of course, I am going to cut this out. I'm just going to take a little breather. We are going to take a break. As soon as that incense run through, I figured that would be a good timing for us to take like a break.
Breaks are always needed, guys. Breaks in life, breaks in everything. Breaks are good. That's good for our mental clarity. So when she say we're taking a break, it's all for good reason.
Yes.
And if you hear cards, I'm shuffling cards too. Me and Jasmine are card readers, and we do pull cards to understand some of the energy that's surrounding us at the time that we're doing these shows. Yes. And we'll talk about it a little bit, and you'll hear us reference the cards sometimes as well.
Yes.
So,
and at the end of this, towards the end of this episode of our taping session, we are going to pull some cards for each sign, probably 1 card for each sign for this new moon in Taurus.
Okay.